Hello, friends. Let us start with this chapter Geometric Twins, Part 2 of NCERT solution, Ganit Prakash. So, if you look in the textbook, page number 3 and 4, they have asked us that check if two figures are congruent. Look at these figures. Now, how do we come to know that the figures are congruent or not? First of all, we'll take a scale, measure the length of the sides of this angle and the angle also, and then check whether the sides are equal and angles are equal. Now look at the solution. If you look at the sides, both figures have the same sides, same length of sides. So both figures have the same arm lengths. Their included angle, they are different. In the first figure, it is 90 degree. In the second one, it is 70 degree. So therefore, these two are not congruent. For them to be congruent, both the arms should be of equal length and the angle should be equal, which is not the case. Look at the second figure. Circle the pair that appears to be congruent. So look at the two drops. They appear to be congruent. So we'll circle it. Then the clouds, they are of different sizes. So no, they are not congruent. Then the leaves like structures, they are looking congruent. So looking at the size and shape, you have to guess it. But if you want to really measure it, you have to measure the lengths and the angles to be sure. Now, what measurements would you take to create figure congruent to given circle? Okay. So a circle and rectangle. So if you are given a circle, what are you going to do? You're going to use the radius, because radius decides how big the circle can be. If the radii are equal, then we can say that the two circles are congruent. So solution: to create a circle congruent to given circle, measure only the radius. And to create a rectangle, you have to measure both length and breadth. Length and breadth, both you have to measure. So using this, state how would you check if two circles are congruent? We have already answered this question. You have to look at the radius for circle and length and breadth for rectangle. So how do you check if the figure given below are congruent? Again the same thing. Take a scale, measure it, and measure the other figure. If they have equal lengths, we can say that the figures are congruent and the angle should also be equal. So if the two figures have same arm lengths and angle between them, then they are equal, they are congruent. Now look at this one. You have to do this. You have to identify which pairs are congruent. So look at the angles and identify. So both pairs are congruent because the angle and the length of the arms are equal. Now suppose triangle HEN is congruent to triangle BIG. So list all correct ways of expressing this congruence. Now remember, the triangles are represented by three-letter names. So HEN congruent to triangle BIG. Look carefully. The correspondence is H to B, E to I, and N to G. So whenever H comes in the first triangle, it should be in front of B in the second triangle. So look at the first method of writing the names of the congruent triangles. The first one, HEN, is congruent to BIG. Then we shift H on the other side. So we get ENH. And then we write down IGB because we shift B on the other side. Are you getting? Next, you can see NHE. After N, there is H, then there is E. Now you know that in front of N, what should be there? G. So GBI. That is the way. Look up. In front of N, G should be there. In front of I, E should be there. H, B should be there. Like this, you write down the 6 ways of representing the triangles. Now, similarly, you can see the rest of it. Now, determine whether the triangles are congruent. If yes, express the congruence. So, you have to look at the triangles. Measure the lengths. They have given the length 6 centimeter of RD and JM. Both are congruent. Yes, they have the same length. Then the angles. You have to look at the angles also. And you have to check. So yes, all three sides are equal, their corresponding sides, and by SSS test, side, side, side test, the triangles are congruent. So what is the method? You have to look at the sides of the triangle, see the measurements. If they are equal, and if all the three sides are corresponding to the three sides of another triangle, we say by SSS test, the two triangles are congruent. Now in the figure below, AB is equal to AD and CB is equal to CD. Can you identify any pair of congruent triangles? Look at the triangles. So the equal parts are shown by similar markings. We have triangle ABC and triangle ADC. So AB is congruent to AD, BC is congruent to DC, and AC is the common side. So you have to give reasons for it. So see the reasons. Here they have given AC is the common side, AB and AD are equal. They are given by same markings. So the two triangles satisfy the condition SSS test. That is the side congruence test for two triangles. Now when the triangles are congruent, their angles are also congruent, corresponding angles. Okay, so here they have given the corresponding angles, which are the equal parts. You can see angle BAC is congruent to DAC, BCA is congruent to DCA. Again, you have to remember the correspondence. In front of A, there should be A. In front of B, there should be D. In front of C, there should be C. That correspondence you have to remember. Now see the next figure. Triangle DFE and triangle GED. So are they congruent together? Again, you're going to use the test of congruence. We see that DF is congruent to DG, EF is congruent to EG, and DE is the common side. So side condition, again the same type of condition and method. Now look at this one. So identify whether the two triangles are congruent and establish the congruence. Now look at the figure. So we have two sides congruent, AB 7 centimeter and XZ is also 7 centimeter. BC and ZY both are 5 centimeters. Angle B is congruent to angle Z, which is 47. So there is a condition called as side angle side test, SAS test. The two triangles are congruent. Now you are going to use it, the same type of questioning for this one. So look at the triangles. DC is congruent to AB and lines are parallel. So interior angles are congruent. Which are the interior angle? OAB. Look in the figure. OAB and triangle in angle OCB. They are alternate interior angle. This side. Look at the line AC on the other side. Each of the other side. You can see alternate interior angles. Similarly, we have OBA and angle ODC. They are alternate interior angles. And side AB is congruent to side CD. So by which test? By ASA test, the two triangles are congruent. So you have to write the names of triangle, write the corresponding angles, the sides, and then you have to write the condition by which they fulfill the test of congruence. Next one, given that angle ABC is congruent to angle DBC and ACB is congruent to DCB and BAC is congruent to BDC. So angles are there. You can also see a common side BC. So angle side angle test. Okay, see the solution. You have to write the names of triangles, write the common side, write the names of the angle, and then write the condition, that is ASA test. Now look at this figure very carefully. You can see two triangles. ABD is equal to DCA. Look in the figure. ABD and DCA. Again, ACB is congruent to DBC. Now, identify the equal parts in the figure. So, we are supposed to use two triangles. So, triangle ABC, the bigger one, and triangle DCB. So, we'll prove them congruent. So, if we add the angles, okay, if we add the angles, ABD and DBC will get ABC. If we add the angle DCA, look in the figure, DCA and BCA will get the whole angle, the bigger one. And we'll say that they are congruent. And common side is there, the base. BC is congruent to BC. So, by condition angle side angle, the two triangles are congruent. Now, let's go to the next question. Figure is given. Figure it out, 13 and 14 page number. Triangle AIR congruent to FLY. So identify the corresponding vertices. I told you how to do it. In front of A, there is F. In front of I, there is L. In front of R, there is Y. So we write down A corresponds to F, I corresponds to L, and R corresponds to Y. Like this. And then corresponding sides. 1, 2, AI congruent to FL. Then 2, 3, IR congruent to LY. The first letter and second letter. 1, 2. Then again, first letter, second letter, FL. Like this, you have to write the corresponding side. Then second and third, IR congruent to LY. And first and third, AR congruent to FY. Like this, you have to write the corresponding sides. Now write down the angles. Angle A congruent to angle F. Angle A congruent to angle F. In front of A, there is F. That's why. So corresponding angles, I congruent to L and R congruent to Y. Now, each of these following cases, certain measurements are taken, identify which are congruent and express. So here they have given the measurements and you can easily find out. You know the tests, SSS test and all. You can observe the solution. It's very easy. So the first one, AB is equal to DE, BC is equal to EF, CA is equal to DF. Very simple. So three corresponding sides. So SSS test. Then we have again one angle in between two congruent sides. So angle ABC and angle FED. So we have AB congruent to FE, AC congruent to ED, and angle in between, that is SAS test, side angle side test or condition. Here they have used the word condition. So we have a right angle triangle now. You know that right angles are always 90 degrees. So they are equal. Angle B is congruent to angle D. And then we can use the right, you can say hypotenuse side test, or you can say for right angles, we can use this condition, RHS condition. Okay. Then further, yes, so let us continue. Then we have this one. You can easily understand the test. Looking at the figure, you have understood the different tests. Look at this one now. So OB is congruent to OC, OA is congruent to OD, and AB is parallel to CD. So here they have given the hint also. AD is the transversal. So are there any equal alternate angles? Yes. So we can use SAS condition here. You can see the angles. So here we have triangle AOB and DOC. And look at the figure. OA congruent to OD, OB congruent to OC, and vertically opposite angles. Vertically opposite angles you can use SAS test. And then alternate angles also they have given, and lines are parallel. You can prove it with the alternate angle test. Okay, have a look at it. Next question. Quadrilateral ABCD is a square. We have to show that the triangles are equal. You know that each angle of a square is 90 degree and all sides are equal. Use that property. You can also use SSS condition. So we have two triangles. All sides are equal. So AB is equal to CD, AD is equal to BC, and AC is the common side. You can use that condition, SSS test. Now, angle B and angle C. If A is the center of the circle, you have to find angle B and angle C. Now, for a circle, the radii is equal. So AB and AC, they are equal. So it's which type of triangle? Can you tell me? There are different types of triangle: equilateral triangle, isosceles triangle, scalene triangle. So two sides are equal. So it is isosceles triangle. So here we know that AB is congruent to AC and the angles are congruent because angles opposite to equal sides are equal. This is isosceles triangle related property. You should know this. Sum of all angles is 180. So we know already the angle A. We substitute and then we can find angle B and C. Both are equal to 30 degrees. Observe this. You can pause the video and take the notes. So last one. Find the missing angles as per conventions. So you can use the property sum of all angles is 180 degree everywhere, and you can find. Okay, do it yourself. So sum of all angles is 90 for 180 degree for a triangle. Use this property for each of these, and you can find the missing angles. So this is your homework. Thank you very much.